Hey guys, it's Tammy, and today we're going to talk about high carb versus low carb and which one is for you. So anyways, I'm always studying and I'm always researching nutrition. It's no different when I came across carnivore last summer when I ran into Sean Baker on YouTube, and he said he doesn't eat fruits or vegetables. And I was like, what? We've been told all our lives that we need fruits and vegetables in our diet, and now you're saying, no, you don't, that all you do is eat ribeyes and you get all the nutrition you need from protein and fats. And of course I had to research it, and of course it is true. It is true. So anyways, here we go. So there are people out there that are doing a high carb, low to moderate fat diet, and there's people that are out there doing a high fat and low carb diet. Now, all the low carbers can pretty much agree that the reason why keto is working is because you're eating a low carb diet, which means you're eating a low sugar diet, which also means insulin doesn't have to come out as much to attract that sugar, take it to the fat cell, open it up, shove it in there, and shut the door, and insulin goes back home, And that's why people have been so successful on that diet, by keeping their sugar levels like this all day long, so insulin doesn't have to work that hard, and you're burning fat for fuel and your own body fat, right? I think we could pretty much all agree with that. On a high carb diet with a low to moderate fat diet, people are burning glucose for energy, and they're not having diabetic, glucose levels, because they're keeping their fats lower. They can have that high carb diet. Their fat cells are primed, saying, hey, glucose, come on in here. We're having a little party. It does its job, and then it leaves the system by keeping the fats low. It's when you come into that middle ground of when you have a high carb, high fat diet is when you start looking a little lumpy, because your body can only absorb so much glucose and your body can only absorb so much fat. And then what happens to the overspill? It starts getting a little lumpy. You know what I mean? So that's why a high carb diet and a low fat diet works. And that's why a high fat diet and low carb diet works. Now, I could tell you from my experience, both diets do work. They do work. There's like this common ground kind of thing going on where you can't have both. You got to have one or the other. Protein stays the same, but you either got to go high carb, low fat, or you have to go high fat, low carb. There is no in between, because it doesn't work, okay? So, in my experience, on March 29th, 2016, I started the ketogenic diet from my nutritionist. My macros were 60% fat, 35% protein, and 5% carbs. Reason being, because I was 361 pounds. I had fat on my body to burn. I did not need to eat 75 grams of fat. 75% fat. 75% fat, 20% protein, and 5% carbs are maintenance macros. Percentages. Those are not for losing weight. You need to cut back on that fat. Why do you think that they always say protein is the number one goal, carbs are a limit, and fat is just a lever? Now, from March 29, 2016 to August 3rd of 2016, I lost 101 pounds doing the ketogenic diet. And I knew nothing about nutrition, you guys. I mean, I thought Cheetos was a vegetable, and I thought Ben & Jerry's was, my dairy for the day, Who can relate? Hello. But the more I started to research on why keto was working so well for some people, I wanted to know, how come the people that eat carbs are losing weight? They are losing weight. So I was researching, and I looked up on YouTube people who have lost 100 pounds, because basically I was looking for loose skin, because I wanted to, am I going to have loose skin or not, after almost losing, 180 pounds. And I came across a lot of people that were eating high carbs. They were eating sweet potatoes, watermelons, pineapples, high vegan, carb diets, everything, and they were dropping 100 pounds. Well, how come I have to sit over here with a low carb diet? Why can't I do a high carb diet? So I brought it to my nutritionist, and she said, Tammy, we're going to transition you to this anyways. So here we go. So in September of 2016, they transferred me to macro flexible dieting, which is basically you hit your calories, you hit your protein, and don't worry about carbs and fats as long as you hit your calories. And I'm like, okay, so here we go. So every 2 to 3 weeks, I would introduce 25 grams of carbs because I did start out at 35 grams of carbs. It took me about 2 to 3 months to get to 150 grams of carbs. That's what I was eating, with adjustments in my fat along the way to lower my fats. And I noticed that while still practicing intermittent fasting on eating a high carb diet, guess what? I was still losing weight. I was still losing weight. And I wanted to know why. Why do people have to go on a low carb diet versus people, they can lose weight on a high carb diet? So the more I researched, this is the conclusion that I came up with. When you're practicing intermittent fasting, okay, and you're on a high carb diet, you're priming your cells while you're fasting. Okay, they're burning through all that glucose. Your liver is burning through all that glucose. And I did my workouts fasted. Then when I would go to have that high carb meal that contained like 75 grams of carbs, guess what? I was replenishing the glycogen in my muscles. I was replenishing my liver, everything. And because I was on a low fat diet, I wasn't storing any fat. I was still burning my own fat. There was no spillover. I wasn't eating 400 grams of carbs, you guys. I was only eating 150 to 200 grams of carbs. So my body was being replenished, and it was using those carbs for energy. So, okay, got me. While keeping my fats low. So that way I didn't gain weight. Because if I were to have high fats and high carbs, obviously I would have been gaining some weight there. There is no in between. It's either, high fat, low carb, or it's high carb, low fat. Now over here on keto, you're on high fat, low carb. So you're keeping your insulin levels low, and you're keeping your sugar levels low. So that way you can have the high fat to burn as energy along with your own body fat for fuel, and you're not burning glucose for fuel. So you can't be sitting in between with a high fat, high carb diet, because you over here will become lumpy and gain weight. You have to do the opposite. So either high carb, low moderate fat, or you have to do high fat and low carb. You can't be in between. So that's why, you guys, that's why I stress. And also calories do matter. I don't care what any guru says over here, what any guru says over here. You have to count calories. You can't sit on your ass all day and expect to lose weight keeping your carbs low or keeping your fat low and eat 5,000 calories and lose weight. It's impossible. So remember, calories always matter, but just pick one. Either you want to burn glucose for energy, because it does work. I did it. I lost 70 pounds in 14 and a half months doing high carb by keeping my fats low to moderate. Or do keto with high fat to low carb to keep your insulin levels low. All right, you guys? And burn that fat for energy. It's up to you. So if you want to go high carb, just make sure that you keep your fats low to moderate. If you want to go high fat, make sure you keep your carbs low. They'll both work. Just don't go in the middle. All right? No middle. No middle. Stay over here. All right? Do the W, not the X. All right? Oh, starting to turn orange. Nope. Here we go. That means it's time to go. I'll talk to you later. Bye.